Okay, so have you ever had that feeling, like you're trying to learn something totally new?
Yeah.
Could be like a new skill or a language or heck, even just a different way of thinking about things. And it's
Wow.
like you're just hitting a wall. You're putting in the effort, but you're not getting anywhere.
Oh, yeah. I know exactly what you mean. It's that frustration, that feeling stuck,
Yeah.
right? Happens to all of us when we're pushing ourselves to grow. And let's be real, you, our listener,
Yeah.
you're here because you want to get past that. You want the core ideas, the stuff that really makes a difference without getting bogged down in all the fluff.
That's it. And that's exactly why we're doing this deep dive today. We took this amazing conversation, really thought-provoking stuff, and we boiled it down to the absolute essentials.
Hmm.
Like the key shifts in how you look at things.
Right.
The kind of stuff that can actually help you break through those barriers and see some real progress in your life.
And this wasn't just any old chat. This was a deep dive into some serious personal development concepts, powerful ideas. Oh,
The
yeah.
kind of insights that can be total game changers for anyone who wants to level up their approach to challenges and opportunities.
And you know what? Honestly, a lot of it boils down to this. We get our own way
Yeah.
without even realizing it. And one of the biggest things that trips us up, waiting for the perfect moment to start.
Oh, absolutely. It's like we think everything has to be just right before we can even take that first step. And the conversation we looked at, it really highlighted how much that can paralyze us. It's like, imagine this,
Okay.
waiting for every single traffic light on your whole commute to turn green before you even leave the house.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You'd never get anywhere. And I can especially see how this is so true for anyone learning English.
Oh, for sure.
You might think, okay, I need to have perfect grammar. I need a massive vocabulary
Right.
before I can even dare to open my mouth and speak.
Mm-hmm.
But here's the thing. Every single time you do speak, even if it's just a little bit, even if you mess up, that's progress. You got it. That's the point they were making. It's all about forward momentum, not about being flawless from the get-go.
And it's not just language learning either, right? Think about starting a new project at work
Yep.
or finally picking up that hobby you've always wanted to try.
Mm-hmm.
That need to have every little detail planned out perfectly before you even begin.
Yeah,
That's what kept so many people stuck at the starting line forever.
totally. That conversation really drove home the idea that action comes before perfection. By actually doing something, putting in the work, even if it's messy, you learn so much more than you ever could just sitting around thinking about it. You adapt. You figure things out as you go.
Which actually connects to something else they talked about.
Okay.
Being really present in whatever you're doing.
Yes.
Not letting all the distractions of the world pull you in a million different directions.
Oh, man, that is such a challenge these days, isn't it?
It really is.
We're constantly bombarded, notifications, emails, all these things screaming for our attention. They were really highlighting how this, fractured attention makes it so hard to really learn and grow.
I know. I'm totally guilty of it. I'll be trying to focus on one thing,
Uh-huh.
but my phone's right there.
Right.
And my mind just keeps wandering to all the other stuff I need to do.
Oh, yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like I'm only giving a tiny sliver of my attention to whatever's right in front of me.
I get it. It's like
Yeah.
he said, think about watering a bunch of plants, but you've only got a little bit of water. You try to give each one a tiny drop. None of them are really going to thrive. It's the same with our focus. When we spread it too thin, nothing gets the attention it deserves.
But when you can actually zero in on something,
Yeah.
when you're truly present with what you're doing,
Mm-hmm.
that's when things really sink in, right?
Totally. You learn better.
Yeah.
You make connections you wouldn't have seen otherwise. They were saying that even just short bursts of totally focused attention are way more valuable than hours of distracted effort.
Makes sense.
Right. Like for someone learning English,
Yeah.
15 minutes of undistracted study time, really focused on the material,
Okay.
way more effective than an hour spent trying to multitask while scrolling through social media.
Absolutely. And it's not just learning either. It's about being present in your life. Like when you're having a conversation with someone and you're really there in the moment,
Yeah,
you actually connect with them on a deeper level.
for sure. You pick up on the little things, the
Yeah.
stuff that's not being said out loud makes a whole interaction richer.
So true. And being present also helps you to see all those little wins we were talking about earlier.
Yeah, yes.
When you're not constantly distracted, you're way more likely to notice when you do something well. Like maybe you understand a new phrase or you finally finish that task you've been putting off.
Right.
And that brings us to the power of gratitude.
It's amazing, isn't it? Just shifting your focus to what you're thankful for. It can totally change how you see things.
Oh, yeah. There are definitely times when I get so caught up in what's not working out that I forget to appreciate all the good stuff I do have.
It's easy to do.
Hmm.
The discussion we looked at, they really emphasize that human tendency to focus on what's missing. We compare ourselves to others. We dwell on what we haven't accomplished yet.
But they had this really simple yet powerful practice.
Aye.
Making a conscious effort to notice 3 things you're grateful for each day.
I love that.
And they don't have to be like huge life-altering things. Maybe it's just a delicious cup of coffee.
Yeah,
Or, like I said, finally finishing that task you've been procrastinating on.
exactly. The point is, it's about consciously acknowledging the positive.
Right.
It's not like it magically makes the challenges disappear,
Yeah.
but it gives you a more balanced perspective.
Mhm.
Helps you see that even in the midst of tough stuff, there's still good to be found.
And for someone learning English, this could be as simple as being grateful for understanding a new word. Or having a conversation that feels just a little bit smoother than yesterday. It's about recognizing the progress you are making, no matter how small.
They talked about how this shift toward gratitude can actually reduce your stress levels
Wow.
and boost your motivation. Because when you focus on what you appreciate, you're less likely to get bogged down by what you feel like you lack.
Now, another big theme that came up was this idea of letting go of the need to control everything.
Oh, that's a tough one.
It is. And I know I've definitely struggled with it.
Yeah, it's such a human thing, wanting to be in charge, wanting to dictate every outcome. But the conversation we looked at, it really unpacked how exhausting that can be.
Yeah.
And honestly, how pointless a lot of the time.
I can think of so many times when I've stressed myself out trying to predict every possible problem
Oh, yeah.
and have a solution ready, even for things that were completely outside of my control. It's like carrying around this huge weight of worry for no reason.
Totally. They had this great analogy. It's like carrying a backpack that's stuffed with things you don't even need. All that effort to maintain control, to manage every tiny detail, it drains your energy. It keeps you from moving forward freely.
And for someone learning English, this might look like getting super frustrated when native speakers talk too fast,
Yeah.
or beating yourself up over every single grammar mistake. Those are things you can't directly control.
Exactly. And they were really emphasizing that shift in focus. Focus on what you can control.
Right.
Your effort, your practice schedule, how willing you are to put yourself out there.
Yeah.
By letting go of that need to control the uncontrollable, you free up so much mental space. You have more energy to focus on what actually matters for your progress.
Which ties in perfectly with our next point, recognizing that time is seriously valuable and making a conscious effort to use it wisely. I think for a long time, I just kind of took time for granted.
Yeah, they were really stressing that in the discussion, how easy it is for time to just slip away if you're not intentional about it. We fill our days with all these activities,
Uh-huh.
but we don't always stop to think about whether they're truly valuable or if they're even aligned with what we really want to achieve.
It's like that saying, right? We have all the time in the world until we don't. And unlike money, you can't earn back time once it's gone.
Exactly. And the conversation was all about being deliberate with how we use our time, making sure to schedule in time for rest and recharging,
Right.
but also for focused learning and growth.
And for anyone learning English, even those short, consistent blocks of focused practice, they make such a difference.
Huge difference.
Yeah.
Way more effective than those long, sporadic study sessions.
It's quality over quantity. It's about being really intentional with those minutes you dedicate to learning.
Absolutely. Setting clear goals for your study time. Minimizing distractions. Those are key to making the most of your time. And speaking of protecting your valuable resources, that brings us to the power of saying no.
Ooh, boy. This is a tough one for so many people,
That is?
myself included. We overcommit. We say yes to everything, even when we're already swamped.
It's true. They were talking about how often we say yes out of a desire to be helpful or to avoid disappointing people.
Mm-hmm.
But when we're constantly stretching ourselves too thin, we end up burned out.
Yeah.
And it actually keeps us from doing our best work in the areas that truly matter to us.
I used to think that saying no was selfish, even rude.
Yeah,
But I've realized it's actually about self-respect. It's about recognizing your own limits.
it is. The discussion really framed saying no as a way of protecting yourself. You're creating the space you need to focus your energy and attention on what's truly important.
Okay.
For someone learning English, this might mean saying no to social events when you have a study session planned, or saying no to that voice in your head that tells you you're not good enough to try.
It's about protecting your peace, your time, your energy,
Hmm.
so you can actually thrive. And when you start setting those healthy boundaries, you create the opportunity to really invest in yourself.
Yes, this is such a fundamental point. They're challenging this idea that self-care and personal growth are luxuries you have to earn.
Hmm.
It's not something you do after everything else is taken care of. It's the foundation.
Right.
It's what allows you to do everything else.
It's like trying to pour from an empty cup. You can't give your best to other people or achieve your goals if you're running on empty. Investing in yourself, whether it's through learning, rest, exercise, spending time in nature, it's essential for your well-being and for how effectively you can show up in the world.
Totally. They use this great analogy of car maintenance.
Okay.
If you want your car to run well, you have to invest in taking care of it.
Mm-hmm.
Our minds and bodies are the same. For English learners, this could be prioritizing study time, using high-quality learning resources, making sure you're getting enough sleep so your brain can actually absorb new information. And hey, by listening to this deep dive,
Yeah.
you're already investing in yourself.
It's really cool how connected all these ideas are,
Yes,
right?
it is.
They all build on each other.
They do.
Hmm.
And they all point toward a way of living that's more intentional
Mm-hmm.
and ultimately more fulfilling.
So just to recap for you, remember those key shifts. Prioritizing progress over perfection,
Yes.
cultivating presence over distraction, embracing gratitude, letting go of that need to control everything, valuing your time,
Mm-hmm.
learning to say no,
Yeah.
and making that conscious choice to invest in yourself.
As you go on your journey of learning and growth, think about which of these principles really speaks to you right now. What's one small action you could take today based on that?
And maybe ask yourself, in a world that's constantly vying for my attention, what really deserves my focus and investment today?
It's about giving yourself the power to learn more effectively, to live more intentionally. Enjoy the journey.
Thanks for listening.
See ya.
Bye.